There is a specific time in an FBI record that I want you to keep in your mind as we go through this. 5:42 a.m. That is the timestamp on Tova Noel's first Google search on the morning of August 10th, 2019. The search term was latest on Epstein in jail. She searched again at 5:52 a.m. 10 minutes later, the same search at 6:30 a.m. Her colleague Michael Thomas found Jeffrey Epstein unresponsive in his cell, hanging from a bedsheet. Less than 40 minutes separated those searches from the discovery of the body. On Monday, Noel testified before the House Oversight Committee for approximately 4 hours. It was the first time she had been questioned about these specific facts in a public congressional setting. Let me walk you through what the documents show, what the committee asked, and what the testimony produced, because the gap between what was known and what was investigated is the part of this story that matters most. Tova Noel was one of 2 corrections officers assigned to monitor Epstein on the night of August 9th into the morning of August 10th, 2019. The other was Michael Thomas. Both were charged with falsifying prison records, specifically with logging inmate checks they never actually performed. The records they signed said they had checked on Epstein throughout the night. Later investigation found they had not. Criminal charges against both were dropped in 2021 after they reached cooperation agreements with prosecutors. Both were fired. Noel has previously said she believes she was the last person to see Epstein alive at or around 10 p.m. on August 9th. She testified that she did not hear anything from his cell between that point and the moment the body was found the next morning. 8 hours, no check, no sound. No entry in the log that was accurate. But the documents the DOJ released earlier this year added layers that the 2021 investigation did not examine. The FBI obtained Noel's bank records through a subpoena from JPMorgan Chase. What those records showed was flagged by the bank itself. JPMorgan Chase filed a suspicious activity report with the FBI in November 2019, 3 months after Epstein's death. The report covered 12 cash deposits made to Noel's account beginning in April 2018, more than a year before Epstein's arrival at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, and continuing through July 2019. The deposits came in semi-regular increments. The largest single deposit was $5,000, made on July 30th, 2019. That was 10 days before Epstein was found dead. It was 1 week after Epstein's first documented suicide attempt on July 23rd. The bank flagged it, the FBI received the report. Noel was never asked about the deposits during her 2021 DOJ interview. That is not an allegation. That is in the transcript of her own sworn statement. The documents show the deposits existed. The documents show the bank flagged them. The documents show the FBI had the suspicious activity report, and the documents show that nobody asked her about them for 5 years. The committee's investigators also obtained her internet search records. Those records, included in FBI files released by the DOJ, showed the 2 Google searches for latest on Epstein in jail in the 48 minutes before the body was found. When Noel was previously asked about those searches, she said, "I don't remember doing that." The committee asked her on Monday. Representative Subramaniam told reporters after the 4-hour interview that Noel explained the cash deposits by saying they were from overtime work deposited into her savings account. He said he found her account credible on that point. He said he does not believe she was paid to not do her job that evening. He also said there was a systemic issue at the facility and that what happened was the result of ineptness and laziness rather than something more deliberate. Representative Melanie Stansberry said the first hour of the interview focused on Noel's managerial responsibilities and that she had been forthcoming. She said the majority of the 4 hours focused on the specific details of what happened the night of Epstein's death. Noel also told the committee she feels her termination was unfair. She said that had it not been Jeffrey Epstein, she would not have been fired. There is one detail from the bank records that has not been addressed in the post-testimony coverage. The bank records also showed Noel was leasing a new Land Rover Range Rover, valued at more than $60,000 at the time of the investigation. That vehicle and the cash deposits were both in the financial picture that JPMorgan Chase considered significant enough to file a formal report to the FBI. Neither the vehicle nor the full picture of the deposits was explored in the 2021 interview. The committee had those records. Monday was the first time those questions were asked in a recorded, formal setting. The FBI also noted in an internal briefing that Noel was likely the orange shape visible in blurry surveillance footage near Epstein's cell around 10:40 p.m. that night. That would place her at or near the cell more than 8 hours before the body was found, consistent with her own account of the 10 p.m. interaction. The surveillance footage discrepancy was reported years ago. It has never been fully resolved. Julie K. Brown, the Miami Herald reporter whose original reporting led to Epstein's 2008 prosecution and eventual 2019 arrest, noted on social media when the DOJ documents were released that the bank records also showed monthly Quickzelle payments to Noel's account during the same time period. Those payments have not been publicly accounted for. Chairman Comer's stated goal for the hearing was specific. He said the committee wants to understand whether what happened at the MCC was simply a series of failures inside the Bureau of Prisons or whether additional questions remain unanswered. After 4 hours of testimony, Stansberry said the interview focused on the details of what happened the night of Epstein's death, the cash deposits that the FBI had for 5 years and never investigated, remain a documented open question. The Google searches at 5:42 and 5:52 a.m. are in the FBI record. The transcript of Monday's interview has not been released. The committee's investigation is ongoing, and the question Comer framed in March, systemic failure or something else, was not answered publicly on Monday. It was answered behind closed doors. For 4 hours, the transcript will tell us what was said. If it is released, there is context around this hearing that matters for understanding what the committee is building toward. Monday's interview was not the first deposition in this investigation. The committee has already deposed former Attorney General Bill Barr, former Labor Secretary Alex Acosta, Ghislaine Maxwell, Les Wexner, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Richard Kahn. A separate deposition with Epstein's longtime attorney Darren Indyke was also conducted. That list spans multiple administrations and the person convicted of facilitating Epstein's abuse. Noel sits at a specific point in that structure. She is the witness who can speak to the final hours, the physical environment of the cell, and the financial picture that was never examined. The committee also knows from the DOJ files that the night Epstein died was not the facility's first failure. Epstein had been found semi-conscious on July 23, 17 days before his death. He was placed on suicide watch, then removed from it, then placed with a new cellmate. That cellmate was removed from the cell the day before Epstein died, leaving him alone. The sequence of decisions across those 17 days is part of what the committee is examining. Noel was present at the facility during that period. The transcript from Monday's 4-hour interview will determine whether those questions received answers. The committee has not announced when or whether it will be released.